Hey guys, so today is going to be a prop-free flow, and as I typically do, I just want to start with a moment of stillness. I won't be hanging out here too long, but I'm going to encourage you to find any comfortable position. You can park yourself like me in this sort of crisscross yoga sauce, but of course, if that's not comfortable, give yourself permission to extend those legs long, swing them around, what have you. Just take a moment here to settle into our bodies and to settle into the space that we've found ourselves in. So we might ask our shoulders to just kind of roll heavy down our back for a moment. Arms can rest inside your lap or next to you. There's always an option to have your eyes closed or open at this point. Kind of giving ourselves the space to give ourselves permission to do nothing, and letting that be as guilt-free as possible. Maybe it's listening to the sound of your breath or the noises that surround you within your space. Maybe just feel the contact of yourself sitting upon the floor. Creating a sense of presence in whatever fashion speaks to you. Why don't we all seal our lips and just take a round of breath in and out of our nose. That breath can be big, it can be small, it can be soft, maybe it's gentle. Maybe there's a singular round of taking a fuller breath in and a big sighing exhale out. And concluding your exhale, if you opted to close your eyes, you get to blink them back open. And from here we start our little warm-up. I'm going to ask you to take your fingers and just tap them upon your shoulders. Then go ahead and pull your elbows in towards one another. Yeah, they might touch, they might not. You're just going to think, I might lift my elbows up towards the ceiling, then start to reach them outwards and downwards. Noticing how we're creating this circular-like movement guided by the elbows, but notice how it's coming from the shoulders. Those circles can be as big or as small as you'd like, encouraging that range to be pain-free. Now, what if you tried to reverse the direction? Can you still maintain the same size circles that you started with? I'll say one more full time around. Then when you've found your elbows somewhat pointing forward, can you pause? Reaching your arms out in front of you with the palms up towards the ceiling. Then you'll ask your fingertips to go down, down, down to face the floor, right? So you're showing me your palms, but your fingertips are reaching down towards the mat. And just kind of checking in, noticing where you feel a stretch sensation. Yeah, keeping the palms just as they are, can you rotate your fingertips outward to the sides of your room? Imagine that there's a wall in front of you and you're gently trying to push those palms into it. And then to complete it, the fingertips are going to go up, up, up towards the ceiling. And then finally rotate those fingertips in to face one another. And then we'll rotate them back up to the sky. And it's still talking to the wrist here. Can you open and close your fingers? And let's just say as fast as you possibly can at this point. And we get to build a little bit of that sensation. We're encouraging our muscles to work, offering that space and blood flow. Sometimes more challenging than fast movements is creating slow movements. So we're going to see if we can't slow that movement down. And then a quick check-in, because my elbow's just bent. Can you keep those elbows straight as you do so? And noticing with the slower movements, how they become a bit more mindful. And we can truly feel the movements as they are occurring. Yeah, let's take one more open and a final close, and then just kind of shake that space out. Let's take our left hand, just go ahead and park it next to you, almost like you're trying to push the floor or your mat away as you take your right arm up and over. And as we push the floor away, we kind of intensify that stretch sensation through our right side body. Let's go ahead and swap sides. That right hand parks down, pushes the floor away, and we ask our left arm to reach up, 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 and over. And now that left hand is going to park itself behind you, and the right arm is going to reach to, we'll say, the back left corner of your room. And this is our final round here, where the right hand comes back behind you. Now your left arm goes up and over. And continue with this theme of warm-up. That left hand is going to park itself right back behind you. Right hand stays as it is. Sort of foreshadowing what we'll be introducing today. Let's go ahead and reach our legs long out in front of us. Can you lift just your left leg? Recognizing all the sensations that you're experiencing. And if you need to, that foot and that leg can come down at any point. You can even shake it out if needed. Let's see if we can't add a layer to that. So I think my left leg tries to lift. It could be high off the floor, it could be low up off the floor. Can you bend that left knee and try to tap your heel close towards your body? Let's send that leg long and let the heel rest. Maybe a little shake out. Let's try that again. We're going to think left leg lifts, left knee bends, my heel taps. This time my whole foot is going to anchor. And I just want to see if I can open up that left leg. Almost like a seated tree position. Getting some external rotation here in that left leg. And then the knee goes back to center, the sole of the foot anchors. We're going to lift the whole foot up, cross our right leg, tap the heel down, tap the toes down. Maybe your hands walk a bit closer towards your hips to encourage more of a tall spine position. I just want you to show me your right arm, reaching it up to the sky. Right elbow is going to connect to your outer left thigh. We kind of use that as our leverage to create this passive seated twist position. Passive because we're using the assist of our arm to create this rotation. At your own pace, maybe you find a breath or two here, getting some expansion through the rib cage, the chest. We'll take that right arm back behind us. Left leg lifts, left leg goes long. And we'll do the same thing here on the second side. So we're going to locate our right leg. See if we can't lift that whole leg somewhat up off the floor. Sticking with the sensations and encouraging ourselves to truly feel this moment. And then we can let it come down. Maybe there's a nice little shake out there. Let's try that once again, adding on that next layer. So I think the right leg tries to lift. Now the right knee bends, I tap my heel, I pause. Right heel lifts, right leg reaches long, and the whole leg comes down. adding on to that, again, we're going to think right leg lifts, right knee bends, my heel taps, now my toes touch down, and I try to open up my right leg off to the right. Right knee comes back to the ceiling, right foot lifts, crosses my left leg, my heel and my toes tap down if I can. Maybe hands once again walk a bit closer towards my hips to encourage length of the torso. And you get to show me your left arm high to the sky. Left elbow now to the outer right thigh. And we kind of use that as our leverage to find that twist. Taking it to any degree that is going to suit you. Knowing that more is not always better. Can you notice your breath within the twist? With every inhale, we get some expansion. With every exhale, we get some release and softness. And that left hand comes back down behind you. Right foot lifts, right leg goes long. I just want you to shake both legs out. Now from here, why don't we swing ourselves around into a tabletop position. Fingers are nice and spread, knees perhaps underneath our hips. We can encourage some mobilization, some movement through the spine by way of our cat-cows. Always opting to choose your speed and pace. And then you can always stick with the very traditional variation, that linear-like movement, or give yourself that freedom to explore, moving with a bit more intuitiveness or intuition. Just trying to move in ways that feel good. Moving in novel ways as we create new shapes within our cat-cow. And then let's come back to our starting point. But encourage our hands to walk up a whole inch forward. So now our palms are ahead of our shoulders. I'm going to ask you to tap just your left elbow down. Can that right arm of yours still stay straight? And then that left elbow and that left forearm lift. We'll encourage our right elbow and our right forearm to tap down. Right, while we hold, can we encourage that left arm to stay straight? And then the right elbow and the right forearm lift. And then I just want you to go side to side here. Perhaps the movement is a bit more controlled, a bit more mindful and slow. And as we tap down, can that forearm stay parallel to the side edge of our mat? You firmly press down through the palms and the fingertips. Now let's take one last round here on each side. We'll just sort of send our hips towards our heels, finding a child. And then our child's pose, just kind of offering ourselves some breath, knowing that my arms can be out in front of me, they can be behind me, my hands might rest underneath my forehead. And we'll see if we can't activate some of our pulling muscles. So I'm going to encourage you to reach your arms out long in front of you. We're asking the elbows to stay straight, and we're gluing our palms in place. If you're about to pull the mat towards you, you let your shoulders shrug down your back. And see if we can't now pull our torso on up into a tabletop. Rearranging, readjusting as needed. We'll tuck our toes under and take our first downward facing dog. Right? And we won't be here too long, so giving yourself that opportunity for stillness. We're finding more explorative movement here. And still asking our fingers to remain spread, palms and fingertips pressing down. And then notice what happens if you try to lift both of your heels above the floor. Can you feel how that just shifted your weight slightly more forward? And then let those heels come back down. Kind of moving our center of gravity. Let's do that again, where the heels lift. We feel that subtle shift forward. The heels come back down, and we've recentered our weight. Do that one more time. The heels lift, lift, lift. Let's pause. Now we'll ask our knees to bend. Take a peek at the top of your mat, and take a nice little stroll as close to your hands as you can go. And once you're there, let the upper body continue to hang heavy. Maybe the hands release. Maybe grab opposite elbow with opposite hand. Soft knees. And see if we can't anchor more of our weight down into our heels. Now if you're like me and you grabbed opposite elbow, go ahead and release the arms. Let them dangle in space. And start by taking your arms back behind you like airplane wings. Let the shoulder heads roll back. And let's begin to lift or lengthen our torso here. So think of a flat back position. My chest is somewhat parallel to the floor or my mat. Maybe we challenge the shape by sending our hips back behind us. We'll think, can I stack my knees somewhat over my ankles? Arm sweeps forward, shoulder flexion. Bend your knees, sink your hips, and let's find our chair pose. Now we'll feel a whole lot of leg work here. We'll also notice the distractions that are held within our mind. And that's all part of the process. Give yourself permission to hang out or to decrease the effort physically as much as you need to. Let's try for one big breath in and out before pushing down through our heels so let our legs drive us up tall into Tadasana. And then we get to pedal those hard-working legs out. Maybe we do the same with the arms and the wrists. Now let's find any comfortable position for our feet. Ask our arms to hang heavy for a moment. Just kind of checking in with where our weight is centered. Can we shift our weight back into our heels? Let the shoulders once again relax. Maybe we ask our jaw to relax. Maybe we ask our eyebrows to relax. Noticing your heart as you feel it pulsing within the walls of your chest. Try to slow the breath down. Ask it to be soft. Ask it to be gentle. And if you opted to close your eyes, I know I didn't say so, go ahead and blink them back open, shake all that out, and we'll start to find our flow. So currently we've got both feet pressing down, a nice equal distribution of weight. I just want you to see, can you rock your weight over to your left leg? And notice if the weight starts to lean forward, can you keep that weight over your heels? Now at your own pace, we're going to talk to our long right leg. Can I first hover that heel up off the floor? Recognizing that there's less points of contact. So now there's more effort happening through our straight left leg. At your pace, the whole foot hovers up off the floor, and we found our first balance. And every day is going to be different, so we drop any expectations that we may have held upon ourselves. And feel those little micro movements, a little kind of rocking from side to side on our foot. I'm going to ask you to step your right leg behind you, but I want this stance to be nice and short. So we're going to encourage both legs to bend at the same time. So we've created what we call this low lunge position. Let's let the legs do a little bit of work. Can you push off your back foot and see if we can't hover in our Tadasana? Okay, so that right foot's doing its best to lift up, but if I need to, we can park that foot back down at any point. We're going to try that a couple times. We're going to take my right foot hovers, I step it back, both knees bend, and I essentially push off my right foot to come back to my hovering Tadasana or my full Tadasana. And I want you to just try that a couple times, moving at your own pace. And depend upon how it feels for you, you might encourage that right foot to find a new placement at the back edge of your mat, while still attempting to keep that stance somewhat short. As we go through these little movements, just try to notice which leg you feel working more. Let's find just a couple more rounds. And for our final round, I want you to step it behind you into that low lunge we started with. We might attempt to find a gentle tuck through the tailbone so that we're not arching through our low back. A bit more length and space to create some stretch here through that right hip. A little fancy footwork. Our back heel's hovered, right? So I want us to pivot on the pad of our right foot in order to open that right knee, taking us into a goddess pose. And I got both of those legs working. They're externally rotated. They're rolling away from the midline. Let's find some release. Straighten both legs out. Maybe a little shake, shake, shake if you need to. All right, we're going to attempt to rebend and straighten. I want you to do that a couple times, always choosing the pace that you want to work through. Deciding how high you'd like to stay or how low you'd like to go. We're going to do one more dip down, a hold, and a soft rock from left to right. Really feeling those muscles. And again, a little fatigue in there, but noticing how our mind starts to react to this sensation or this experience. Big inhale and exhale. Two legs straighten. Should feel really nice. We'll give a little shake, shake out to that space. I want you to go ahead and pivot your left toes forward and your right toes to the back edge of our mat. We're going to re-come into our low lunge, but this time asking our left leg to bend and our left hip to pivot forward. Tip your torso forward, ask that back leg to stay bent if you can. 2 hands touch down, and our right foot steps. We're going to find a hovering tabletop. So if you can, both knees are going to stay up off the floor. Top of the head draws forward. Try to find some length through the spine. Hips towards heels. Downward facing dog. And see, in our down dog, ask your fingers to stay spread. Equal weight on both hands. Can we maintain that integrity even when we ask, let's say, our left heel to hover first? And we'll see if we can't kick that whole left leg back behind us. Notice if there's any shift of the weight to the right. See if you can firmly press down, especially through that left palm. Left knee bends. Left knee to the chest. We'll take a step forward. If you ever need to, you can toe heel that foot up closer towards the hands, or you can walk the hands backwards. Maybe the back foot also walks down your mat. Okay, let's see, maybe that left arm goes high. It's kind of taking us into our first twist. Left hand touches down, and our back foot is going to step its way forward next to our right. We'll take a chair pose. Hands to the heart, push your way up tall. Arms relax, legs relax. Always giving ourselves permission to hit that little reset button. We'll think at the top edge of our mat. Once again, we're just committing to that equal distribution of weight between both feet. And we'll rock our weight to our left foot. At your pace, you're going to encourage your right foot to hover. Can you step it back behind you into a crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana? So got a nice wide stance here. But if you feel like that's too much, you can always walk your back foot forward in an effort to shorten it. Front foot is heavy. Back leg's there to support. We might put the arms high, increasing the effort involved here. Let's go ahead and rest hands at our heart center. Encouraging our torso to once again tip forward. Now feel the strength of that back leg. And take 2 hands to the inside of your front foot. And then we'll immediately ask our back knee to tap down. And you're working through a little bit of cueing here. Can you locate your front foot, your left foot? And start to pivot your toes towards the left edge of your mat. And it's going to feel a little weird to start. Then just get to toe heel that foot, kind of walking down the edge of your mat until your heel is roughly in line with your right knee. But the toes are still going to be pointing outwards so that left leg is externally rotated or rolling away from the midline. Thinking of our runner's lunge, right toes tuck, and we're going to ask that right knee to lift up off of our mat. All right, next cueing here. Focus on your back leg, your right heel, and pivot that heel off to the right. Go ahead and lower that long right leg until your hip finds the floor. And then we'll focus on our bent leg. We kind of toe heel that foot any closer towards our long right leg. And then you might readjust the hands a little bit. We might even ask that right hip to lift and pull it closer towards that bent leg. Left hand comes back behind you. And if you find that you need to rearrange or readjust at any point, go ahead. As we're here in this, preparing ourselves for that seated twist. Hands might walk themselves closer towards the hips, encouraging that tall spine. Right arm goes high to the sky. Right elbow to the outer left thigh. And here we have the opportunity to deepen our twist. And at your own pace, you're going to slowly work your way out. Just let that right hand tap back down behind you. Let's see if we can't figure our way out of this position. Coming out of it similar to the way that we've come in. So we're going to locate our long right leg and our bent left leg. Can we take our left arm high? Let's kind of work it next to our hip. Both toes pivot off to the side edge of our mat. The shoulders stacked over the right hand. I just want to see if we can first turn our fingertips to face the front edge of our mat. And then we might press down through both feet as a means to lift our hips in this sort of variation of a side plank. We can always hang out here with the assist of that bent leg, or we might try to step that left leg back, taking us into a full variation of a side plank. Right hand's firmly pushing the floor away. We're doing our best to lift those hips, right? Push everything up and away from the floor. And then at your pace, we're going to find our way into a high plank. So we'll take our time, anchoring both hands down. And let's send ourselves right back to a downward facing dog. And after all that work, let's tap our knees down. Give ourselves permission for either a few rounds of cat-cow, a bit more active rest, or more passive by finding the child's pose. Whichever shape you've opted to take, you just feel a connection of, say, your hands as they press into the mat. Can you feel the movement of your breath entering and exiting your body? Noticing if your heart is pulsing quickly, your heart is pulsing loudly or softly. If you're in cat-cow, you're just going to hang out there, returning to your tabletop. If you're in child's pose, you get to walk your arms up and try to pull your torso into a tabletop. We'll tuck our toes under. Maybe we hover our knees for a moment. Rock our hips back. Downward facing dog. From down dog, we hover our heels high. That shifts our weight forward. Then continue to bend our knees. Gaze goes towards our hands. And we try to take a nice little stroll towards the top of our mat. Hanging out here with soft knees. Grab opposite elbow with opposite hand. And find a little sway to your torso. Maybe a little shake out through the head. Release the elbows and go ahead and roll your way up tall to stand. If you have the space, the arms can go wide or out in front of you. High to the sky, and then anchor hands at the heart. We'll slowly release arms down beside us. Getting to work our way through the second side, we're going to think, now my weight shifts over to my right foot. From there, I might ask my left heel to hover first, encouraging more body mass through the right leg. Then whenever you feel ready, you might hover the toes. Maybe this side feels a little extra wobbly. Maybe it feels more stable. And at your pace here, we're going to think, can I step my left leg behind me with that shortened stance where I ask both knees to bend? And we get to push off our back toes. Either step that foot forward or ask it to hover away from your mat. I'm just going to mimic that a couple times around. And you can move with whatever speed, whatever intensity you'd like to. If you feel comfortable, you can reposition where that left foot lands. And if you need to take a break at any point, you might just step that left foot forward, connecting to the breath for a few rounds first, before committing yourself back to a few more lunges. Last couple rounds. And a little pause with that left foot behind us, both knees bent. Oftentimes our weight likes to lean forward, so we're just going to check in. Can I first stack my shoulders over my hips? Can I tuck my tailbone as a means to lengthen out my low back? I know there should be a little bit more load on that back leg of yours. With our back heel lifted, we want to pivot on the pad of our foot, opening up into our goddess pose. Both legs rolling away from the midline. Yep, commit to feeling, staying present, breathing through it, and then we get to straighten out both legs. Give a little shake, shake, shake if you need to. Are you ready? We're going to bend both of our knees. Commit to your goddess pose wherever you'd like to go. Strong legs push you right back up. Can you do that a couple times? We'll encourage the movement here to be nice and slow. It's like we're pulling ourselves to the floor and pushing ourselves on up. And maybe there's one last round, right? Choosing your height, offering ourselves a little rock, redistributing our weight from our left foot to our right foot. Going lower to enhance the sensations. And a final push-up, tall with a little shake, shake, shake out. So now we're going to talk to our right leg first. I just want you to pivot your toes towards the edge of your mat. Left toes pivot to the back, which will be the new front. Turning this into our low lunge, we're going to talk directly to our back leg first. That's our right leg. We're going to pivot the heel so that the knee draws forward, and we're back in our low lunge. Can you go ahead and tip your upper body forward? And you find that little hip hinge. Can you keep that back knee bent to any degree? Decrease the effort. Let two hands touch down. Frame your front foot. Find your hovering tabletop. Palms press down. Left leg steps back, both knees try to hover. Shift hips towards heels, downward facing dog. And now working through our final side. We've got both palms pressing down. We've got all of our fingers spread. Right, try to notice that equal distribution of weight. I just want us to maintain a sense of that integrity. So we're going to first hover our right heel, which means that right knee might bend. Then can we kick that right leg high to the sky? Oftentimes the weight's going to shift to the left, so press down to that right palm. Even try to push your mat forward. Knee bends, and we just do our best to try to step that foot forward. And if it lands a little short, toe, heel, maybe the hands walk towards that foot. And kind of finding your path to get to a runner's lunge. We're never glued to the mat, so you have permission always to rearrange or readjust. And I don't remember if we did this on the first side, but let's go ahead and plant that left palm down and take a moment to peel that right arm high, guiding us into a twist. And that right hand plants down. Let's see if we can't step our back foot forward next to our right and sink ourselves into our favorite chair pose. It's definitely one that draws up a whole host of thoughts and emotions. We're asking ourselves to persevere, knowing that we can always decrease effort physically if and when we need to. Feel the weight in the heels. Let the legs do the work as you push yourself up tall. And now we get to release by way of pedaling out those hard-working legs. Now let's let our heart rate settle by encouraging arms to hang heavy, feet in any comfortable position. I'm going to ask us to seal our lips, encouraging the breath to then enter in and out of our nose. And once you have found your heart rate settling a little bit, then we'll ask our arms to reach up high to the sky. Depending upon your space, it can go outwards, it can go out in front of you, then upwards. Hands to the heart. Coming back to our crescent lunge or Anjaneyasana, we're going to root down to our right foot. Take our time hovering our left. And just reintroducing that sense of balance. Left leg steps back into our crescent lunge. Gauging how it feels, readjusting as needed. Opting for arms to hang heavy or sweeping them up to the sky. And providing ourselves that sense of meditation, marinating within a shape. So noticing our thoughts as they come and go. Hands to the heart. Tip upper body forward. Let two hands touch down. In that thing, runner's lunge. And then we'll immediately tap back knee or our left knee to the mat. Maybe two palms make contact with the floor. And then we're going to talk to our front foot here. That's our right foot. Let's think of first pivoting the toes off to the right. Noticing how we just opened up that right leg. We want to follow the edge of our mat as we start to toe heel, until that foot is roughly in line with our back knee. Back toes tuck, back knee lifts. Think of that runner's lunge position. Now let's go ahead and pivot our back heel off to the left. Right, maybe your right arm goes high, and you can gauge how you feel here. If you want the additional support, that hand taps back down, or we're going to do our best to slowly lower our long left leg and our left hip to the mat. Let's take our reaching right hand down and see if we can't sort of shift our hip any closer to the middle of our mat. And then our bent leg, we toe heel that foot a little bit closer towards our long leg. A whole lot of readjustment here. Let your hands frame your hips. Think of that tall spine position. And then at your pace, left arm goes high, left elbow presses to the outer edge of our right thigh to find our twist. And then we get to work our way out of this position, finding that little funky transition. So we're going to take my left arm, goes high, and I park it behind me with my fingertips facing the back edge of my mat. Right hand comes next to my hip, right? Just sort of giving us the support to roll onto the outside edge of our long left leg. We're going to come into our side plank from here, so make sure you've got your positioning where you want it. Our bent knee, those toes might point towards the side edge of our mat. At your pace, hips lift, maybe the arm reaches, maybe that bent leg goes on top of the bottom, creating your variation of a side plank. The palm is still pushing the floor away. We're doing our best to lift our hips up, while our feet also press down. And we're just going to throw in that component of breath. Can you inhale and exhale? Educate body to breathe. And then at your pace, go ahead and find your plank position. Then we're still attempting to push the floor away. It's a downward facing dog. Knees tap down. And it's a child's pose. Maybe the forehead gets a little massage as you rock it from side to side. Maybe the hips do the same. And then just kind of finding our cool down here. Let's walk our arms out in front as it means to pull our way up into a tabletop. And I want you to rearrange yourself so you're down on your back. Getting there however it is the easiest for you. We'll see if we can't roll all the way down. Reaching legs long. Maybe reaching our arms up overhead. Think of that full body stretch. And let the arms rest next to you. We'll take a moment to plant both feet. And pull our thighs into the belly. Arms might wrap themselves around the outside of the legs, or they might wrap themselves by the thighs. You might treat yourself to a nice rock from side to side here. Let's release the grip of our hands. Ask our knees to draw wide. And just kind of turn our feet up so that they're facing the ceiling, creating this active variation of a happy baby. We try to wiggle our toes here. Roll out our ankle space. Pausing with the heels pushing up and your toes pulling down. Can you straighten out both legs, encouraging your feet to come close towards one another. Then we're going to re-bend, pull them apart. Active happy baby. Let's try that 2 more times where we straighten the legs and bend. Last time we'll straighten. Last time we'll bend. Heels towards your bum and plant your feet on the floor. Maybe those legs sway from side to side. And the knees will slowly return back to center. From there, soles of the feet come together while the knees knock away from one another. Supta Baddha Konasana. If you'd like, one hand can rest upon your belly, the opposite hand upon your heart. If that doesn't feel so good, let them rest wherever they'd like to. You might encourage eyes to close for a moment as we do our best to find a sense of focus and attention on the roller coaster of our breath. Every inhale, there's some expansion. With every exhale, there's that softness and that release. We might even treat ourselves to a round of a full inhale accompanied by a pause. Truly feeling that internal pressure, space of our breath. And then as we exhale, can we sigh all of that breath out, allowing that belly to kind of drop down towards our spine. Maybe do that a couple, we'll say 2 more rounds. Big inhale, pause, and then you pay attention to your body. When it asks for an exhale, you honor, and you just let it go. You got 1 more round at your pace. Let's close our legs up like a book. Pull them in towards our chest. And find a soft rock off to either side. From there, top hand's going to push you up tall. I just want you to find a sitting position. Anything that's comfortable. Ending just the way we started. We'll ask our arms and our shoulders to be heavy. A sense of relaxing through the jaw, the eyebrows. We'll ask hands to press together at our heart. Really bowing down together as a means to thank ourselves for finding the time and space for our own movement practice, our own self-care. And slowly coming back up. Tall. And just ending with a gentle round of applause for ourselves here. With a little pat on our own backs. Nicely done, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I hope to see you back here on the screen for our next YouTube session. Till then, take care.